Now we're going to talk another thing about what Rabbi Akiva said. We did this already. We're now on Mishnah number Tesvav, right? Tesvav, huh? We didn't do this. We did this. Tesvav, one Mishnah back. There we go. Okay, here we have Rabbi Akiva's continuing. Rabbi Akiva says, Akol Safui. If you want to read an interesting story about somebody, read about Rabbi Akiva. Very amazing story, how he came, how he learned Torah, he became one of the greatest, and he had troubles his whole life. He stood against the Romans, and they tortured him to death. Hakol Safu, he says, listen, everything is foretold. It's already decided what's going to happen. Harashut Natuna, nevertheless, you have total free will. Total free will. Even though God knows everything that you're going to do, every move, every this, nevertheless, every move, every word, every thought, God knows everything. He knows the future. Not only God knows the future, God is the future. Nevertheless, you have total free will. I mean, within a certain boundaries. I mean, you have freedom for everybody. You know, there's certain things you can't control. You know, if you were born in Chicago, you can't say, I wish I was born in New Jersey. You know, that's not free will. If you're born a human being, you can't be in the, they're trying in America to say a man is a woman is a man, a person is a dog is a person, right? Dogs are more than people are this. Right? Whatever you are, that's what you are. You can make things worse. But there's certain things that you can't be changed, but there are certain things that can be changed. And there's certain things you can improve. And therefore, within the realm of the choices given to you, you have total free choice. Sometimes the gamut of choices is much greater than what you think. For instance, a person can change his attitude. Right? There were Jews that were going to kill them. And those Jews were more free than the enemy that was killing them. The Romans, the Greeks, the Germans, the Russians. Who hasn't killed Jews? And those Jews that were killed, if they realized that they're, in a way, they were more free than the people who were killing them. Because you can take an attitude that I am happy that I'm a Jew. And these people, they're Russians or Germans, they're never happy. And they're going to die also. Everybody dies. So a person, Rishut, so it says, Akol Safui, God knows everything that's going to happen, but nevertheless, you have total free will. Obetov olam nidon, the world is judged always for the side of good. V'akol afi rova maisa, and everything is according to what you do, how much you do. Let's see what this means. Mishna saying our Mishnah is a continuation of the words of Rabbi Akiva. And the Rambam writes, and when in the explanation of the Mishnah, the Rambam wrote a pirush on the Mishnayos. The Rambam wrote his three main, best well-known books or works, if you want to call it, is the Guide to the Perplexed, More Nevuchim, and his amazing work, Mishnah Torah, that he wrote on all the laws of all that appear all in the Torah, all the laws of the Torah, including laws of the Beit HaMikdash and laws of impurity and laws of Mashiach. And Rambam also wrote an explanation on the Mishnah, his famous Shmona Parakim that he wrote as an explanation of the Mishnah, his prayers in the Mishnah of Sanhedrin. And the Rambam writes about this law, Zeh Maimer, this particular Mishnah, Zeh Maimer Kolel Devorim Gedolim Od. This Mishnah, this saying here of Rabbi Akiva includes very, very great things. Let's see. Hakol Safui, Hakol Galui V'Yadua Mirosh. Everything is known and revealed to God, the whole future, Lifnei Hashem, before God. God knows everything that's going to happen. Harashut Natuna. By God, there's no such thing as past, present, and future. God is, the letters of God's name is Yud, and then Hey, and then Vav Hey. That comprises all of the letters of Hoya, Hova, V'Yihiyah. God is past, God creates time. What does it mean creates time? It doesn't create time as it unrolls. He creates the whole thing of time. It's one thing. So by God, there is no such, what is time? Past, present, and future. God creates the past, the present, and the future all the time. So he's creating the future. It's not just he's creating the present and the present just sort of rolls along constantly. He's creating the future. We have no way of understanding what this means. But there were prophets that could, that's the idea of prophecy. So it says, everything is known to God. The future is known. Nevertheless, hareshut natuna, permission is given. In other words, everyone has free will. Afal pikein, even though God knows everything, hareshut biyadei adam, permission is given to man. Livchor b'tov v'ra, you can choose good or bad. Kolomar, in other words, sheyesh la'adam bechira chavshid, man has true free will. In addition to the fact that you can choose, what type of car you want and what type of city you want to live in, what type of food you want, etc. You can also choose to serve God or not. You can choose to do what Hashem wants. And sometimes that'll mean you'll have to lose your car and lose your food and lose the place you live. Sometimes that means, like Abraham was going to lose everything, sacrifice his son. Everyone has free will. And the fact that God knows what you're going to do, this does not, Yudea called that God knows everything, machricha et adam, it doesn't force a person in any way. Even though this is impossible, even though this makes no sense, if God really knows what we're going to do, so in a way we don't really have free will. I mean, God knows what it's going to be, so we're forced, right? And then you can ask a question, one second, if God already knows what we're going to do, then how can I be punished if I do something bad? God already knew it. But the knowledge of God, this is the answer of the Rambam. The knowledge of God does not like our knowledge. There's no comparison between them, even though God knows, God and his knowledge are one. Just like we can't understand what is God, also we cannot understand what is God's knowledge. That's what the Rambam says. This is like we talked about in the morning about the Sfirot. I think personally you can give another answer to this whole thing, which is not, I don't really see so much of the big question over here. How is it that God's knowing what we do? Why would you think that that prevents us from having free will? I sort of personally don't really understand the question so much. Because let's just take an example. Let's say, for instance, that there was somebody that knew everything I was going to do. I'll tell you the truth. When I was a young child, I don't know how old I was. 8 years old, 7 years old. So I had this thought, listen, maybe everything that I do is known already. Maybe, it's already known. Maybe, I don't know if I believed in God, but anyway, I thought maybe it's all known. So I thought, well, I can trick them. I'll just go like this. All of a sudden I go like this. No, that was already written. So I won't do anything. That's also written. So no matter what I do, it's already known from beforehand. So I said to myself, one second, so what if it's already known beforehand? So what? I mean, that's going to paralyze me. I mean, that will also be known that I'll paralyze. I'll just live my life. What do I care if somebody else knows? Exactly the opposite. If somebody else has nothing better to do than to know what I'm doing, so, where's he at? Okay, I wasn't thinking in terms of God, that God is infinite, but nevertheless, the fact of the matter is, so what if God knows everything I'm going to do? Or somebody knows whatever I'm going to do. Let's say there's a movie somewhere of my whole life. From the second I was born, the whole thing is there. Right? Everything that I'm going to do is already there. The last moment of my life, I can see this movie and say, wow, this is amazing. Somebody was filming. He says, no one was filming you. This movie was made the moment you were born. So why should that prevent me from doing whatever I want now? So I live my life. What do I care if somebody knows what I'm doing? Why would I think that does away with my free will? So in a way, I sort of never really understood the question. Okay. Like it says, is it not? My thoughts are not like your thoughts. No darchai, and my ways are not like your ways, says God. I guess the whole question comes from if let's say there's a person, he knows everything I'm going to do. So that sort of makes my life very insignificant. It makes it very insignificant. In other words, everything that I think I'm choosing, that I'm known, it's already decided from beforehand. So good, you can play your game and pretend you know and pretend you're choosing. But the fact of the matter is it really made no difference. It was already decided before. I think that's the question. I
don't think it's already decided. It's just already known.
Oh, and God knew. If God already knew.
Like we have a child. We know that he's going to reach for something, but he reaches for it, and we know he's going to reach for it, but he still had the freedom of will to reach for it.
Okay, good. So, right, very good.
The outcome.
Exactly right. So what does that mean? It means that this idea that it's already known from before sort of makes me like a little baby. In other words, I really don't have any free will, so to speak. I'm a little child. You put something shiny in front of him, he'll grab it. He can't stop himself. So it's sort of like if there's a movie of me that was made the second I was born. So it's sort of like I can't stop myself. I'm gonna do this thing. It's not really me, so to speak, doing it. It's not really me. It's some sort of forces that already have decided that this is what's going to be. So that takes away sort of, I can have the illusion of free will. I am deciding, but really the fact of the matter is it's not free will at all, because it's already been decided. It's known that you put a $10 bill in front of me and a $100 bill, take whichever you want. So I have free will to take the $10, but I'm not going to take the $100 bill.
It's like a poker game.
Huh?
It's like a poker game. God deals you 5 cards. You can't change the cards. You can only change the way you play the cards.
Right. So your life becomes very insignificant. The future is insignificant, and it really doesn't make much difference where you do. And it's already been predetermined. I think that's the question. That's the question. In other words, are your choices important or not? If your whole life can be put into a box when the minute that you're born, so it means your life is of absolutely no importance. You can play the game, but it's just like you're like a rat running around in a little maze, and you run around, so at the end you get to the point. It's no really deal. And that, I think, is the big point, what he wants to say, that it's not so. That it's not so. That God's knowledge is not like our knowledge, and exactly the opposite. Let me give you another case. Abraham, right? So Abraham stood this test. He stood 10 tests, but God already knew he was going to stand the 10 tests. So what's the big deal that Abraham stood these 10 tests and they were so difficult, and they were so this? I mean, God already knew it. The Torah was already written before the world was created. There it all is. So the answer to it is yes, it's true. The Torah was written, but it's on a totally different level of reality, higher level of reality than ours, not lower. Don't think that because God knows it means that he put our life in a little box. No, God knows what is right. And he knew that Avram was going to make the right decision, but making the right decision is a superhuman thing. Making the right decision is still superhuman. Even though God knew that Abraham was right? It's like taking these, soldiers. You have soldiers and you train them to be, special troops. What is it called? Special combat troops. And you send them into the most difficult situations possible. And they're all trained. So according to their training, what they're going to do. But to do it, it's superhuman. It's superhuman. They have to go against, sometimes they have to be alone. And they have to. So don't think that because God knows what we're doing, that how do you say, minimizes our life. It doesn't minimize our life. That's a big thing that the psychiatry tries to do, that Viktor Frankl was a very big, how do you say, enemy of, if you want to call it. Of how does he call it? Not minimizing. There's another word that he uses. That the psychiatry tried to say that your life is just, it's determined by all these forces that they are, and you're really sort of just like this plaything of these forces, and you can just choose different forces if you want to. You can see what they are. You can be aware of them, so you're not so much of a slave of them. But still, a person is not really free. He's not really free. And here it's the same thing. You might think that because everything you're going to do is already predetermined, so you're not free. So the fact is, it's totally not so. If a Jew decides to serve Hashem, he is totally free. because he's totally free to do the right thing. And doing the right thing means it's godly. And godly means to be alive. It means to be in a different dimension of reality. So that's what he says, the Tov Olam Nidon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu done as Bnei Yisrael, God judges people, b'chesed u'b'tov, dahainu b'midas rachamim, with mercy and not in severity. Shnei Amar, like it says, Erech Apayim Rav Chesed, please scroll up, be'emes. Omer Razal, the rabbi saying in Sanhedrin, Erech Apayim to the tzaddikim and to the Rishoyim, that God has mercy even for the evil people. And so it says, Tov Hashem L'kol, God is good to everyone. We say it in Ashrei, right? Tov Hashem L'chol Rachamav Kol Masav. But Hakol L'fi Rova Ma'asav. But nevertheless, everything is according to what you do. True, God judges you with mercy, and even if you do all the sins, God is going to be merciful to you. But nevertheless, L'fi Rov Mispar Ma'asav, according to the number of good things you do. V'lo L'fi Godel Ma'asav, not necessarily the greatness of what you do. She'im Adam Matmid B'Ma'asim Tovim, if a person constantly does good things, Chozer La'asosam Harbe Pamim, he does them over and over again. Mitchazeket Belibo, therefore, by doing it many, many times, the Alter Rebbe brings this also in the Tanya. Therefore, if he does it a lot, one good thing, then it strengthens in his heart and his soul a lot of good things. If he does one good thing one time, for instance, a person that gives charity 1,000 golden pieces at one time. He does not, ingrain in himself the quality of generosity. Why? Because he gives one time and then that's it. The rest of the time he does what he wants. This is not the same thing to me like a person who gives 1,000 golden pieces one at a time. Because this person, he does more deeds. He does 1,000 good deeds instead of this person who just does one deed, one powerful good deed. And by means of this arousal of his soul that he constantly does good, therefore he strengthens in his soul the aspect of generosity. But this person who gives 1,000 golden pieces at once, true, he gives a tremendous good thing, and the one who receives it is certainly very happy. But what about how it affects his soul, his personality? It affects much less because he's only done kindness one time. One time he aroused himself to do good, Lamaisa Tov, and after that, after that he doesn't do good anymore. It's not doing good anymore. From here we learn also in Matan Schar Mitzvahs, we learn the same thing about the commandments. A person is judged according to the number of times he does something good, a good deed. Okay, the same Rambam says in another place in Hilchos Tshuva that a person is judged according to how much good he does and how much the opposite he does, but only God knows how to judge. Only God knows the system, the judgment values. So it could be a person is a big tzaddik his whole life and he learns Torah, and in the last moment of his life he gets angry at somebody, yells and wrecks the whole thing up because he was a big rabbi and it was caught on television. And he yelled and screamed at somebody, it wrecked the whole thing up. It's worse. It would have been better if he would have never learned Torah. Because then he would be a regular person, the yacht mad, so no big deal. Then there could be a person whose whole life was bad. He was in the Knesset and he was against Judaism and he was against it. At the last moment of his life, he says, Shema Yisrael, puts on tefillin, Hashem. That could be that one deed is worth more than all the good deeds that I do in my whole life. Could be. So that's another aspect what the Rambam says. If so, the whole thing is so uncertain. What are we supposed to do? The answer is just do good. Forget about the rewards you're going to get. How God will figure it out. Don't worry. You just do good and stop thinking about rewards. The less you think about the rewards, the more good you'll do. Just think about I'm going to do good for the sake of Hashem. Not only that, the more happy you'll be. Because you're doing it just for Hashem. If you're thinking about a reward, am I going to get the reward? Am I not going to get a reward? All of a sudden, you see somebody else doing another. Oh, he's going to get a bigger reward than me. So a person is never happy. Good.
So
Happy,
we should be good boys and just do the mitzvahs.
be good for goodness sake, as it says in the song.